Yo, 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 welcome back into JumpStart Sports. Sorry if you've been missing us. We've been a little MIA lately, maybe because of the cold weather. We've been hiding in our rooms or whatnot, but got our winter hats on. Football season's at its highest peak right now with the playoffs going on. Jay, how's everything going with you? You staying warm in there?
Yeah, I'm pretty cozy. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty cozy. Although I'm getting kicked out of my apartment in a couple months because they raised the rent 56% here in New York. So
Get out of my house!
Gotta love
loving
it.
that. Yeah, I love that. Love New York. My roommate loves it more than anyone else that I know. Um, but yeah, so everything's been good with me. I know we've definitely been on a little bit of a hiatus again, but life gets busy and now we're getting back to doing what we love and jump starting that morning for everyone else who's listening.
Would you rather pay more to stay in that apartment or become an Eagles fan?
Oh,
It's a tough one, right?
we're a third option. That's jump into a pile of nails.
How tough am I? How tough am I? I had a bowl of nails for breakfast this morning.
Yes, so?
Without any milk.
Oh,
Oh
that seems unpleasant.
yeah.
I think there's our answer.
Oh,
But let's jump right into it. Let's start this morning off with some football talk. NFL playoffs. We had a lot of exciting games happen last week.
I'd say the
Yeah.
opposite. I feel like they were mostly blowouts.
Yeah,
Like,
there are definitely some blowouts, but I think regardless, anytime it's playoff time, it just brings a whole new interest to the NFL.
mhm.
Like obviously we had a lot of exciting games in the regular season. A lot of teams showed up that we didn't expect to be in the playoffs,
Yep.
like my Eagles, for example. And we could just
Steelers.
rip that Band-Aid off, get that pain out of the way. Um, we started off the season not really even knowing if our quarterback Jalen Hurts was going to provide for us. We didn't know if we were going to be a playoff team, and we did have a fairly easy schedule. So we were able to sneak our way into the playoffs, and people thought we had a shot at this game. Anytime you go up against Tampa Brady, anytime you go up
Tampa
against
Brady.
Tom Brady,
That's right.
um, it's not going to be easy, regardless of
Mhm.
what team he plays on. They were a little bit diminished, missing two of their top receivers,
Yeah,
missing
they
their
had
their
Godwin
workhorse
for
and
his ACL and
Godwin
yeah,
AB, missing their workhorse and
yeah.
Uncle Lenny. But that really didn't matter much for them, did it, Jay?
No. Yeah, they also lost AB to probable CTE. Um,
Yes.
that was so ridiculous.
That'll be all time. What a
Uh,
way to go out.
oh my god, you saw the interview, right? That
With
he he
Von
had
Miller, yeah.
yeah, and he had everyone. What was it? He had a moment of silence for AB. He said, "Moment of silence for AB, the greatest receiver of all time," or something like that. And they actually did it.
We talked about this a little bit before the show, and obviously, how's a nice way to put this? Maybe all the brain cells don't quite meet the top floor for AB,
A little bit.
but I don't think he's completely innocent, to be honest. Because if you saw in the game this past week,
Mhm.
Bruce Arians slapped one of his players in the head or something,
Yeah,
and
Andrew Adams.
I think you can see like he doesn't seem like the world's greatest coach either.
Yeah.
Um,
And I feel like that's actually been I remember there being a problem actually when he was with the Cardinals, which was something similar where like there was player mistreatment. I'm not sure if that's even a word. No, yeah, it is mistreatment.
yeah.
Player mistreatment when I think there was an injured player, similar to like the whole AB story. So I don't necessarily think that AB is completely in the fault, in the wrong, but you know, he still took off his shirt, threw it in the stands.
Yeah, he's completely in the wrong for that. That's childish behavior.
He told
Um,
he told the guys on that interview that he almost mooned MetLife because he was so like overwhelmed by the crowd.
I wouldn't have been
He's a
surprised.
showman. He's a showman. Wanted to show the crowd that butt.
Yeah, that's what he does.
That's what he does.
wanted to put on a show. But
Yeah.
regardless of all the chaos that is going on in Tampa Bay, Tom Brady is just such a great leader, as hard as that is for me to say. And he just kind of blocks out all the noise, and he was able to get the job done on Sunday. They beat us pretty easily, 31-15. Our offense just couldn't get anything going in that game. Their defense looked really strong, and they earned themselves, a trip to the second round where they get another home game this Sunday at 3:00 against the Rams. They had a great game earlier this year. The Rams won that game 34-24. They'll likely get Uncle Lenny back this week, Leonard Fournette. It's going to be a great game. What do you think? What do you make of that matchup? Who do you see coming out on top? Do you think it'll be a close game? Do you think? I believe the Bucks are going to be favored in that game. Correct?
I would think the Bucks are probably going to be favored. It's a close call for me. They're pretty evenly matched teams. I feel like with Tom Brady not really having an offense outside of like Mike Evans and Gronk. What I did really quickly want to pivot real quick back to the Eagles. Did you think that this is another case of like, is Jalen Hurts the future? I mean, I know we've gone over this countless times on this podcast. We had a whole conversation when Gardner Minshew played really well against the Jets, where I basically said that all Eagles fans, kind of look at that.
I remember.
Yeah. So my question to you is, do you think like Jalen Hurts, can he take – I mean, I know he was announced as the starter for 2022, right? But he had some pretty terrible throws in that game. He also had some great moments where he's been an incredible leader throughout the season as well as that game.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni earlier this week announced that he earned the position to be a starter next year, and I think he did. He did show a lot of spark for us. He still has a lot to prove. He's still a young quarterback. He'll be going into his third year. He hasn't proven that he can sling the ball down the field, which is something I'd love to see. Just like having a deep threat, whether that's Devonta Smith or getting somebody else. And he just didn't – I don't think he did that like really at all this year. So he still has a lot to prove. You can't have a quarterback like who throws the ball every time. That's kind of what happened with Lamar. And Lamar even has an arm, but when defenses figure out that all you do is just RPOs, they're going to catch on and it's not going to work, just like it didn't work in Tampa Bay. I think it's fine to give him another year, see what he can do. And most likely Gardner Minshew is going to, be used as trade bait and will be sent somewhere. And the backup quarterback position is one of the most underrated positions in the NFL. It's so important because your start could go down at any moment. Look at the Ravens look at the Ravens this year with Lamar getting hurt. They needed Huntley to step up. So I think the Eagles are going to need to look at that too. I really wouldn't be surprised if they draft another quarterback, which is kind of like deja vu all over again. Could be a slap in the face to Jalen Hurts, but I think for right now he's done enough to earn another year under center. But if he doesn't start showing a little bit more, that we could have another quarterback controversy in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I don't think they'll draft a quarterback anymore. I think he did enough.
Before we talk about the Rams Cardinals game and then get back to the Bucks Rams game coming up, pivoting to your Giants quickly, what do you think is going to happen with Danny Dimes? Do you think enough's enough, or do you think you need to give the kid another chance?
No, I think they'll give him another chance. But I think that it's interesting. Like now that it's a complete overhaul, and supposedly they're going to give the new GM complete control, which I don't really believe that because Mara always has a hand in it. Just look at you have like Chris Pettit, who's been a terrible evaluator of talent for them. You have his brothers in there, who's like really high up too. So I don't really trust them. The ownership, I think they still are too family oriented. But this year was a kind of a slap in the face. I mean, they ran a QB sneak on 3rd and 8 on their own 4-yard line, just so they could punt. If that's not the most pathetic thing you've ever heard, I mean, but so anyway, so my point is, I think that there's a shot that Danny will be gone in 2023, but I don't think that they have I don't think a GM will come in and overhaul the whole team, including Danny Dimes, because that's arguably one of their most stable pieces right now. Like they have Andrew Thomas as the only mainstay on the offensive line. They'll have to figure out something to do with Kenny Galladay. Hopefully, they can. Honestly, I still think Kenny Galladay can do something. He just didn't get an opportunity to because they hate him.
A lot of rebuilding going on in New York. Just new GM, new coach.
They're in cap hell.
Possibly a new quarterback. I saw, I read some articles and there's some talk about maybe Russell coming, but I don't know why any quarterback, no offense, would want to come to the Giants with everything that's been going on the past year with them. Mm-hmm. They have a lot of pieces, as I've said before. They just haven't been able to put it all together. It's like me trying to do a puzzle. I see all these pieces, I just can't put it together.
I get that. I haven't even started a puzzle, and I don't know.
But New York's a great marketing place, great advertising place. So maybe that's appealing to Russell and his beautiful wife Sierra. Yep. Maybe Deshaun, if you offer him unlimited massage parlors, maybe he'll be happy to come. But
yeah, I mean, you know what? You look at like the Rams from years ago, and they were one of the least desirable places. The Chargers years ago were in a soccer stadium, and no one wanted to be there because they didn't have any fans, so no one would come play there. So, I mean, and they both completely turned their franchise around. The Rams starting with Sean McVay, and the Chargers starting with Justin Herbert. Actually, I feel like when Phillip Rivers was kind of dwindling in his career. So I think there's a shot. I think there's a shot that there's a GM that, I mean, they're interviewing very, very good candidates, and Joe Schoen and what's his name, Ryan Poles, and Adam Peters. Those are three really highly regarded talent evaluators and assistant GMs. So I really like that. It'll be interesting who they bring in as a coach, because I know they requested for Dan Quinn. They're going to bring in Brian Flores. They don't have to request since he was fired. I just think that they're finally going with someone these are all established talents in the GM and head coaching ring, instead of going for Gettleman, who was a complete idiot and everyone knew it. I mean, don't you remember the picture of him compared to the 49ers in terms of how they're getting ready for the draft? And Gettleman had an entire notebook yay high of notes, and then the 49ers just had 4 monitors, 5 different phones. It looked like 2 completely generations of getting ready for a draft. So we have 2 really high picks. I think it's really a good chance that we'll get a good tackle and maybe turn it around a little bit.
Yeah, there's so many teams in this league that are really a quarterback away from making a difference. And you brought up the Rams, for example. Obviously, they have so many different pieces with their 3 wide receiver studs and Cam Akers finally. But Jared Goff just wasn't getting the job done, and then they bring in Stafford, and they're a whole new team now. So it could be interesting to see with the Giants whether this next season or the season after, bringing a new quarterback. It could make all that.
I wonder what the Browns would look like if they had an actual quarterback instead of Baker, who is just great at commercials and sucks at the game.
Yeah, great actor.
Great actor. Honestly, he acted good enough to get selected number 1 overall.
That's right.
Yeah, I saw. Do you see some this online that it was the Browns thought Baker was what Joe Burrow was for the Bengals?
Yep, didn't quite work out
with
that
the
way.
Swag and everything. Joey B. All right, so let's move on. So that was a pretty big tangent, but let's just go back to so the Bucks versus the Rams, right, next week.
Yeah, let's talk about quickly. the Cardinals, I mean, talk about quarterbacks and how they're able to turn a franchise around. People had such high hopes for, Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
He still, is an elite quarterback, I believe. But
Yeah.
this year he just seemed a little bit off. And especially in this game, you can't win when you only put up 11 points. They got, manhandled by the Rams. And SoFi 34-11. Stafford came here to do, why the Rams brought him here. He got his first career playoff win. Big games out of Cup and OBJ. OBJ just, keeps proving people wrong. Everyone was so down on him, and he's still showing that he's, such a he can be such a weapon out there.
Yeah, I was worried for OBJ also because of the injury. I felt like that was super downplayed. Like he still had a shoulder injury when he got traded. But that really just shows the incompetence of the Browns of just like they are so pathetic. And he's had a touchdown almost every single game with them, if not every game with them.
Yeah, just
He's so
about.
talented. Do you see the PED though? Like the NFL requested PED test from him after that game, which is so classic.
I mean, it's part of league protocols, but it's just, it's classic. But give him a lot of credit, just getting away from all the nonsense of Cleveland and battling through injuries. And, another injury that still blows my mind is the whole Cam Akers injury. Tearing.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard an athlete in professional sports who tore their Achilles and then
6 months later,
is out there balling out, almost rushed for over 100 yards. I mean, they not that Sony Michel's anything special, but they have a nice core back there of running backs, and I don't know. I think it's going to be a good game. I really think the Rams will pull away against the Bucs. Yeah. I think if Matt Stafford can just play smart, and Cooper Kupp goes off again. As good as Tom Brady is, I think I always like envisioned the Packers playing the Rams in the NFC Championship game, and it's very possible that could happen.
It's very possible that could happen. It's funny that if the Rams get far enough, it'll be right now this coming game it'll be Sony Michel against his old team, but Sony Michel played against the Rams in that horrible Super Bowl.
Sony Michel played for the Bucs?
No. Sony Michel played with Tom Brady. Sorry, I meant.
Oh, right. And
my bad. Not his former team. So that's kind of cool that he'll be able to do that. But yeah, I mean Cam Akers. It's interesting. Like Cam Akers and Deontay Foreman were the two that were coming off Achilles injuries this year. Foreman, it has taken I think 3 years since he really had that injury to get back to form, and he looked really good for the Titans, honestly, this year.
Yeah.
Considering, how devastating of an injury the Achilles is, look at how Kobe Bryant's career went after the Achilles got blown out. Kevin Durant, I think, is another anomaly of Kevin Durant. It was like nothing happened. Cam Akers, though, 6 months, he is redefining how modern medicine is working. It's really
it's not even just modern medicine. People don't really think about how hard he worked every day, getting into the gym, PT, just to work to get back to be in a position like this. I feel like most people would be like, nah, I don't want to risk getting injured again. I'm just going to kind of stay on the sidelines until next year. But he wanted to get back out there.
I just thought it was impossible. Like an ACL and Achilles, that takes a year at least until you play again. And he was rehabbing, I think, 4 months into it. And he looked explosive too. It wasn't just he rushed for almost 100 yards. He looked explosive when they gave him the ball.
Yeah.
So if he continues to get better and better and better, the Bucs are going to have their hands full because he is a hell of a player and he's a great pass catcher as well. So
it's a completely different game out there because the Bucs D, when they prepared for the Eagles, they're like, oh, this team's going to run the ball 80% of the time, which we did, and it didn't work.
They got him.
But now at the Rams, this is a team that's going to throw the ball 80% of the time. So, as great as a run D as the Bucs have, Cam Akers could really, catch them off guard and be, the difference maker in that game.
They really do have a good run defense, though, so it'll be a good matchup, I think, for the Bucks. But it's actually, I feel like it's two very, very solid defenses. The Bucks defense, notably their run defense in their middle with Levante David and Devin White, but and Carlton Davis, I think, is back as well. He's a stud, but they don't have many corner options, and I think Antoine Winfield's still hurt, if I'm not wrong. And the Rams defense is full of studs.
Yeah, you cannot count out Aaron Donald.
It'll be Jalen Ramsey versus Mike Evans. I'm now realizing.
Yeah, that'll be it'll be a hell of a game. Give me your prediction. What do you think this final score will be in this one?
I think the Rams are going to win. I think Tom Brady is going to collapse like he did against the Saints this year. I think they'll win. I think it'll be a pretty high score. I'm going to go 34-24.
That was really close to what I was going to say. I was thinking 34-27.
Okay.
But I think it'll be a close game. I think the Rams will pull away at the end, and Tom Brady will find a way to complain about something. But
yeah, I'm sure we'll be wrong, and Tom Brady will throw a Microsoft Surface somewhere, but and win, and they'll just give it to him out of pity. But anyway, all right, so let's move on. So the 49ers played the Cowboys, or the Cowgirls, as we like to say, as two other NFC East rivals. The Cowboys had a very, very great season. Played amazing with Mike McCarthy this year. Their offensive weapons were studs. Then they dealt with some injuries, and they fell off a little bit. And that hot start kind of fizzled out. And then conversely with the Niners, they were not doing that great in the beginning of this year and then took off. They started playing amazing. They made the playoffs. And even though that they lost many due to significant injuries, such as Raheem Mostert, who was their starter for the year, and Trey Sermon, their third-round pick. Elijah Mitchell played amazing, and Deebo Samuel is a weapon. What did you think about that game?
Well, yeah, the first two games were pretty much blowouts, like you said, not a whole lot of exciting games, but this was really the most exciting game for me. Came down to the wire. A lot of people wanted the 49ers to win that game. There's all this talk about Jimmy G getting traded, but he's been fantastic lately. He really
Except
did
for the one missed throw at the end.
Yeah, he really has played well. I think they're just a well-rounded team. The 49ers have a really tough defense, which I don't think they're going to make this easy for the Packers this week. They earned their way into the divisional round this year. Like you said, Deebo Samuel is just electric. Nobody would have thought he would put up the numbers that he put up this year. All-pro first team for him. George Kittle was pretty quiet in that game, but I think we should expect more out of him come this weekend.
Brandon Ayuk dusted Trayvon Diggs on countless occasions.
Oh, yeah. They made their defense look lost to a lot of points. Dak just didn't, step up. Zeke, we found out, has been playing through an injury since week 4, but, he was just kind of non-existent this entire year. Just couldn't really get Amari or CD going in this game. But they hung in there. They battled through it. They kept it a one-possession game till the very end. They only lost by 6 points, but
yeah. So tell me about what happened towards the end of that game.
Yeah, that last play of the game was unbelievable. They're out of timeouts. They're marching down the field trying to win the game, because if they score, they win the game and they make the PAT. But for some reason, when you have no timeouts left and everybody knows this, you either throw the ball away or you find a way to get to the sideline and get out of bounds.
This is scary, because I would take a shot to the end zone here when they're in the sideline defense, because you actually can hold on to the ball. You need someone, San Francisco, to get to the quarterback here.
Prescott takes off running the football. Whoa, I don't think this is going to work out.
It will. They'll be able to clock this. They were planning for it. It's down. Oh, my gosh.
The official gets in the way. The game's over.
Gosh.
The game is over.
Oh, he did.
But Dak decided, I think their coverage was just so good. he decides to run for it up the middle. He gets down with about, I don't know, it was 5 seconds left or so. And
I think it was like 6, but the
Yeah.
ref was also in the way.
and he's rushing. So I think it's like, is it Dak's fault for like making that play at such like an important moment in the game? Like, this is your season on the line here.
I think it was the OC who called it.
Is it the
It looks-
OC's fault? Does the ref
looks
get
like
any fault? Because like the
it
ref
looked like
needed,
a-
it was the ref's job to put the
Get
ball
out of the
down,
way.
but like the fact that he got in the way definitely like took a second off of it. So
Yeah,
maybe it's just a combination of all of it.
it was a combination. I mean, I love to watch it. It was really exciting, but I mean, and I love the outcome. But it was kind of crazy. I mean, you got to think that the OC probably was the one who called it, because he probably saw that they were dropping in coverage and you can get some yards. But Dak also should have been a little bit more aware of the clock, that he should have gotten down earlier.
Is there someone you think in his ear saying "run, run," or is it like
Oh,
he was
yeah, I
supposed
think-
to throw the ball and he decided himself like nobody's open. He scrambled a couple plays before that, I think. So he's like, why not do it again?
Maybe we can look up the clip and try to see. But I think right when he snapped the ball, it was a QB draw. I
Mhm.
think it was, and he should have gone down sooner. He probably wanted to get a few more yards for his kicker. Was it? No. Did they needed a touchdown still? Actually, didn't they?
They needed a touchdown.
Yeah, they needed a touchdown. So that doesn't even matter. He definitely should have gotten down, and then thrown one up into the end zone.
It's an interesting thing to think about because I've never played football, and I don't really know how it works. I know that you always hear like quarterbacks going like this, try to hear the guy up top, the play caller.
Yeah.
But I wonder if in like the middle of the play when they drop back, if like because they're up top, so the OC is overseeing the entire field. If he's like talking to him in the middle of the play and being like, he could be looking to the right, and then he says like, "Oh, look downfield to the left, he's wide open." Like, I wonder if that's like cheating.
Oh,
or
like
if that's,
during the play?
or not.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
during the play.
I don't know. That's interesting. I've never even thought of that.
But yeah, so Dallas season once again, for some reason, like all the first takes I watched this year, as much as Stephen A. Smith hates the Cowboys, there were so many takes about them finally, getting to like the NFC Championship game this year. What's it been like? Their drought's like 26 years since the Super Bowl or something. Especially after Hard Knocks this year. Jerry Jones had such high hopes to get them to the Super Bowl, and
Hard Knocks failed so badly they had to do another one in between. And
yeah,
for another team who lost in the very last game and couldn't make the playoffs.
yeah,
How unfortunate for them.
yeah. But
Yeah, I think there's something to be said for Deebo Samuel. Like, there's something you can say about the Niners is they fight. Like, they fight. Ayuk on that play, if you remember, that he needed to get a first down towards the end of the game. Like, he got tackled, he was spinning, and then he dove and stuck the ball out to get the first down. Like, that's such fight. I love that. And then Deebo Samuel also, who just, I mean, he's a wide back. That's what he called it himself in a press conference. He is a wide back. That dude is arguably the best running back in the NFL. He averages like nine a carry. It's unbelievable. He's so talented. Also, I can't believe that everyone, including myself, of course, my mind immediately goes back to fantasy football. Like, I can't believe that we all missed so hard on him.
well, he got hurt last season.
Amen. Let me give him a shout out. Sam Amen, nice job.
Debo got hurt last year, so
Debo gets hurt every year.
Anybody who comes off injuries like that, everyone kind of steers away from that. So no one saw this coming, but it's luck because you could take Debo. He'll easily be second, third round pick next year, and he could get hurt. So it's just kind of same thing with Cooper Kupp and his injury history. It's just luck of the Irish.
Luck of the Irish.
So I can't really like insult the Cowboys fans as much as I love to, because I don't think Eagles fans would have really been much different. But
no, you guys are
it was just a really bad look at the end of the game when the Cowboys players are leaving the game and their own fans are throwing trash at them. They said they were throwing it at the refs, which is just not a good look. I think the refs definitely weren't the refs weren't good in that game. Some pretty bad play calling. in the playoffs so far. Well, we'll get to the Bengals game and how the refs in that game are told not to officiate it any more playoff games because that's how bad they were.
Oh, I
Especially,
didn't hear that.
yeah, with the Tyler Boyd touchdown. The refs in that game
Oh,
were told not to ref any more games this season. That's how
wow.
bad they were.
Wow.
But at the end of the game, Dak basically said something in his press conference when asked about it. Like, like that's what reporters do. Like I've done reporting before. Like reporters, I think in a way, like ask players these questions to try and like get under their skin. Like, what do you think Dak's gonna say when you say to him, "What do you make of your fans throwing trash at the players?" Like, obviously he's supposed to, regardless of what he feels, he's supposed to say that was wrong of them to do. That's so inappropriate. I'm sorry, but no, he goes like credit to them, something like that, and like
No.
of
He
course,
said so. Basically, they asked him first, "How do you feel about them throwing trash on the field?" And then, like, it basically was insinuated that it was like at the players, and he's like, "That's super disappointing. Obviously, we go out there every day, we work our butts off, we put our
yeah.
lives on the line, which is true." Um, and then they go, and then someone else chimed in, and they go, "I heard that they were doing it at the refs," and he goes, "Oh, well, if that's the case, good on them."
Credit to them then.
That's a take. That's a take.
Yeah.
They
Credit.
weren't doing it.
Oh, credit to them.
Yeah, and obviously,
That is
I don't know if
pathetic.
I don't know if he got fined for that, but he
Oh,
put
I
out
think
an
he did.
apology.
I think
Yeah,
he should get fined. He should get fined. That's terrible.
it's
I
just
mean,
bad leadership. Like I get your emotions kind of get the best of you in the heat of the moment, but just poor leadership, especially at the end of the game like that. It's not good, bad sportsmanship and all. But what do you expect from Dallas?
yeah, right. I expect about the same from the Eagles.
So, oh boy. Anyways, the 49ers deserved to win that game. I think they were at least I think they're the better team in that game. And
I
they
thought so
won it.
too. That's why I
Um,
bet on them.
yeah,
Man,
and
I've
they earned their trip to Lambeau Field this coming weekend.
that'll
They
be
will
yeah.
face off against a very tough Packers team at Lambeau.
Lambeau's freezing.
Saturday night under the lights. Interesting stat though. Even though the Packers beat the 49ers earlier this year on a Mason Crosby game-winning field goal, Aaron Rodgers is 0-3 in the postseason against the 49ers. So he's got that going against him, but the Packers are just so good this year. I don't really know if the 49ers will put up much of a fight against them.
I think the 49ers will put up a fight. I think they'll lose. And it's not just me like picking the favorite. I think that like anyone coming into Lambeau with the team as stout as they are this year, getting back Jair Alexander, David Bakhtiari, getting back Za'Darius Smith, like they're getting like some guys back who are huge to their success.
I just think.
hard.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say I think it'll be really hard for them to keep up, but the 49ers usually put up a fight. But playing at Lambeau is tough.
Yeah, it's a tough environment to play in. I've been there before. And they're going to have to rely on their defense, the 49ers, to really keep them in this game, because I think matching Aaron Rodgers score for score is just not an option for them. Out of the 8 remaining quarterbacks, other than maybe Ryan Tannehill, Jimmy Garoppolo is probably the least confident quarterback that I believe in. I just don't think – I think he's going to kind of fold a little bit. I could be wrong. I hope he plays well, but I think he might choke a little bit under pressure. And then obviously the whole quarterback controversy is going to come back up again with him.
Yeah.
But I just don't have enough confidence in him. And I think Rodgers will, do enough with Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones to get the job done.
I think it's too over. Their offensive attack is too overwhelming for the defense.
And even their Packers defense is very, very solid.
Also, didn't Nick Bosa get hurt?
I think he got hurt, but
he had a concussion.
He got a concussion, but I think he'll be cleared to play.
Okay, so I don't know. That defense, the defensive line always was very good for the Niners, but I can't see the Niners defense holding up against Devontae Adams. Even Allen Lazard has played very well. They don't have MVS and Equanimous St. Brown is not amazing as
No
a third
Robert
receiver.
Tonyan.
No Robert Tonyan. But that other guy, actually, I don't know his name. The other backup tight end that they have has been playing really, really well.
I'm blanking on his name too.
But yeah, Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon, that's thunder and lightning right there. That's tough to stop.
Yeah, it's a good 1-2 punch. So give me your predictions. I think this is gonna be a very lopsided win. I think it could easily be like 37-17.
Wow. Okay, I was going to say something really similar. 37-21.
Yeah. We'll see though. Should be an exciting game Saturday night. So let's make our way over to the AFC games. The playoff game that started everything off was the Raiders, who probably didn't even deserve to have any business even being in the playoffs, but they got the job done. They found their way in. They snuck in, and they played a very impressive Bengals team with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, who been a little bit streaky at times, but when they're popping off and everything's clicking, they're a tough team to beat. And the score of this game, the final score was 26-19, but I don't think that was really the score wasn't telling of the game. It really felt like the Bengals were winning the entire game.
Well, they were winning for most of the game, but the Raiders gave them a run for their money towards the end. And it ultimately did come down to that final drive where Derek Carr led them all the way down the field.
Yep.
And it just came down to that very, very last throw where he was under duress and he just happened to throw it in the end zone and got picked.
The season comes down to this. In his Carr end zone. Intercepted. Jermaine Pratt has it. And for the first time in 31 years, Cincinnati, your Bengals have won a playoff game.
But you have to give credit to Derek Carr, the Raiders organization, the associate head coach, the assistant head coach who had to take over. Going through what the Raiders have gone through this year with there's been actually a lot of stuff that's happened throughout the NFL with Deshaun Watson, stuff like that too. For John Gruden and Henry Ruggs, for that to happen in the same year is kind of crazy.
How funny was that meme of Henry Ruggs watching from the window?
It was so bad. I mean, that dude's life is ruined, and should be because it was his fault. But
there was a player recently I saw. I'm completely blanking on his name, but he put up a post saying, "For those of you who just lost in the playoffs, I know it sucks, but be smart. Don't go drinking and driving because one moment could change your life." It was something like that. I forget who it was. I just saw it on social media, but look at Henry Ruggs, Exhibit A.
Yeah, coming from a Top Golf. But yeah, anyway, I just feel like for what was a tumultuous season, Derek Carr is one hell of a leader to, they didn't even have Darren Waller for the majority of this year. And he still led them with Zay Jones and accountant Hunter Renfrow.
Yeah, he
all
really
the way
to a bigger role this year for sure.
Yeah, they had no business being there. But yeah, like you said, also the Bengals. This is the first playoff win since texting was invented. There's some stat about it on the screen when we were watching the game. That the first text, no one could even text about the Bengals winning a playoff game because it wasn't invented. So the transformation that the Bengals have had with Joe Burrow, I think Zach Taylor's done a really good job with them. Joe Mixon being healthy this year, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, the 1-2 punch. They even have Tyler Boyd too. CJ Uzoma, the real heart of the team. They've got some grit. I'd like to see what they're going to bring to the table against the Titans. I think they could upset them.
I do too. The Titans are obviously favored in this game, but Joe Burrow got his first playoff career win. Jamar Chase just absolutely ate in that game.
Oh yeah, they had no chance.
Yeah, not that the playoffs have anything to do with it, but I think he pretty much solidified himself as rookie of the year with how he's been playing. But they have T. Higgins. They have so many options. Their defense looked pretty solid. I I think it'll be a close game against the Titans for sure. Is Derrick Henry definitely playing?
I think he's gonna play.
Okay.
I still don't think like I imagine Derek similar to how JJ Watt was on a snap count.
Mhm.
You'd have to think. Well, I
Yeah.
guess that's not. Well, no. Cam Akers played a game before that. I would still think that Derrick Henry would be on a snap count. I'd be really surprised if they.
Yeah,
did.
he's. I don't expect him to dominate. I couldn't be wrong because he's Derrick Henry. They'll definitely use him like in goal line situations and stuff. But I think it's really going to come down between AJ Brown and Julio Jones, and if what they're able to produce. Because I still don't really have much faith in Ryan Tannehill, but he has those games where he just kind of plays really well and proves you wrong. So you could have one of those games and shock the world and beat them, but I think there's going to be an upset in this one. I think I have to take. I think it will be a relatively low scoring game, surprisingly, but I think it could be like
No, I agree with that.
21-18 Bengals, something like that.
I think it'll be 24. I think it'll be like 24-17. I think it'll be close, but I just think that I felt this way this whole year. I mean, credit to Mike Vrabel. He's a hell of a head coach. They do not have any business being the top seed in the AFC South. They are not that good of a team. I'm sorry. I don't think the Titans are that good of a team. I think that Derrick Henry is amazing, and it was incredible that they've won this many, and their defense has played really well. But you lock down A.J. Brown, they don't have another option. Julio's been so washed this year.
You don't say that.
Oh, I said it. Uh-huh. Who knows? AJ, I mean, look, Julio might shock everyone and come out with like 100 and a touchdown.
He's done nothing this year. There's been 2 games, I believe, where he played decent, but he's not popped off yet, and maybe he's saving his best for last.
Right, and that's what I'm saying though. Like, there's no reason for optimism, but like maybe he just. I mean, he's in the playoffs for the first time in a little while. Like, maybe he's kind of put something together. I don't know, but like, I just feel like they don't have another option. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy to me that like they literally have 2 options: their run game and AJ Brown, and I guess the occasional Ryan Tannehill rushing touchdown, which actually happens more than you'd expect.
Yeah,
but like, they don't have much after that, right? Like, I don't know. I really love the Bengals in this game. I think Trey Hendrickson was a hell of a pickup off the edge for them, and their defense has played really well also.
Yeah, both defenses have been great, so I think they'll keep this game close, but we'll see. What do you make of, quickly going back to the Raiders, what do you make of Rich Bisaccia? Do you think he did enough to earn himself a head coach position for next year, or is it just due to the situation they just kind of had to put him in there, and they're going to try to look elsewhere at other coaching candidates? I'm sure they're going to consider other people, but do you think he did enough to get them into the playoffs to earn himself a full-time head coaching job with the Raiders next season?
He should. He deserves. He definitely deserves consideration. He kind of reminds me of Raheem Morris from last year, who came in as an assistant head coach, did really well. I think it was for the Falcons, but I could be wrong. Wherever he was, and then he eventually became the DC of the Rams.
He reminds me of your typical like Italian uncle, Baba da Boopity. You know what I mean? With the bald head and the goatee.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get that. He, I think, unbiasedly, Rich Bisaccia has done wonders with this team when they don't have anything going for them. So I think I have a lot of credit for Rich Bisaccia. I still think they're going to move on from him. I think they'll want a clean slate, and I think there's rumors that they're going to think about trading Derek Carr. I mean, now they don't have a GM anymore either.
I've never been high on Derek Carr. I just never think he's been like clutch when you need him to be. But at the same time, it's like you had Waller when he's healthy. You know what he did 2 seasons ago. He was a beast. Yeah. Hunter Renfrow came out of nowhere past 2 seasons, and he really he's really popped off this season. They just need, like, Josh Jacobs just hasn't been consistent enough. they need a solid running back, and they need another receiver out there. Like if they somehow like got their hands on Michael Thomas or something, like that could instantly make them more dangerous on the offensive end. But they definitely need to make some more moves, or it's just going to be more of the same for them next season.
Well, they have to figure out what they're going to do, the direction of the franchise, because there's a new GM now coming in now that Mayock is fired. And obviously Gruden's gone. So I would assume this is why I think Rich Bisaccia will not keep his job too. Usually a GM candidate will want to pick their head coach. So unless you're like Bill Belichick, like a GM candidate usually wants to pick their head coach. So I would be really dumbfounded if they will retain Rich Bisaccia, but I'm sure Rich Bisaccia will go to a great team and he'll be a hell of a coordinator or something like that. Same as Raheem Morris last year. We'll just have to see.
Yeah. So going to the next game, this was the biggest blowout of all the games, the Bills-Pats game. We watched that together. Jay, what did you make of that? Did you really expect I think most people thought the Bills were going to win, but I don't think anybody expected this outcome.
Yeah, I thought the Bills would win. I even put money on the Bills winning, much to my girlfriend's dismay. But I just think that the Patriots were kind of a Cinderella story this year. They had no business winning as many games as they did. Their defense carried them through a lot of it. Their running backs carried them through a lot of it. And Mac Jones played pretty well. Like he was, there's no slight to him. He played great this year. I just think when you really look at it, the Bills the whole year we all thought were going to be dominant and so hard to beat, both with their defense and their offense. And even without Trey White, this defense was insane and very stingy. And the Patriots don't have passing attacks. Like they don't have a passing option outside of like Jacoby Myers and Hunter Henry. And that's not enough for a team like the Bills who can score in a heartbeat with Josh Allen making these ridiculous throws. I mean, I'm sure, and also they're used to the weather. I mean, it's cold in New England as well, but like Buffalo is like, it was 1 degree for the game. So it's icy. People were slipping all over the place. And I mean, did you see like the first touchdown of the game was insane. It was Dawson Knox catching it was both a fade in the back of the end zone.
Yeah.
And he barely got his feet in like while he's falling out of bounds. Like it was amazing.
It was a great catch, yeah. From the other 2 meetings they had this year, the Pats won that first game. It was like 19 passing yards for Mac Jones, something like that on like 6 passing attempts, not even, but not. Yeah, I think it might have been 2 passing attempts actually, but they won that close one. The Bills, like where everyone was like, "What is going on with this team?" They meet again in New England, and the Bills win that game. They pulled away with that one. So I thought, all credit to the Bills. I thought this game was going to be a lot closer, but they just, put their foot on the gas and just took off from the very beginning, winning 47-17. Josh Allen finally showed up, threw for 5 touchdowns. And even like they don't really have like a running back. Like they've been juggling running backs this whole entire year. And somehow the past couple of weeks, Devin Singletary's kind of come about, and he rushes for 2 touchdowns and almost 100 yards in this game.
Do you think that was due to the fact that it was just icy and like also game flow, or do you think that was just because Devin Singletary played well? Because he did have a solid stretch at the end of the year.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. I think just the game flow and the dominance that they had, how they were just marching the ball down the field on the Patriots. They just kind of seemed lost out there. Did not look like the defense that they had this year at all. But, credit to him. He, earned the starting job, and, we'll see how he does this upcoming Sunday at 6:30 when they go to Arrowhead to face the red-hot Kansas City Chiefs. And that's another team who had a big blowout win this past weekend as well.
Those are the 2 of the strongest arms in the NFL. So I'm very curious to see if this is going to be like just an air raid attack from both sides, because I mean, the Chiefs kind of look like. I mean, we'll get to it in a second, but I'm very curious to see if this will just be like a very, very high scoring game, and each of them are just going to score, a lot of touchdowns. Sorry, I almost cursed. If they're just going to like score a bunch of touchdowns, because I don't know if the Chiefs will have an answer for Josh Allen too if he continues his hot streak, and I don't think that. I mean, the Bills maybe have a good chance to stop Mahomes, but Mahomes looks unstoppable with Tyreek. Like, I just mean from like the Bills' defense is very strong, but Patty Mahomes, like when he's on, it's like he's unstoppable. He's unstoppable. And Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, like, I mean, how the hell are you stopping them?
Yeah, they're very good. When they started off this year, when they went through that stretch where I think they were 2-3 or something like that, and all these talk shows are saying, "Oh, the Chiefs, you can't count on them. You can't trust Patrick Mahomes." He didn't have like an amazing year like he has had in years past, but something in me, like deep down, I was like, he's going to prove everybody wrong right here. Like,
Yeah,
make all these people look bad. So many people are saying the Chiefs don't have a chance, but like they really turned it around. And and like he showed this past week, even though the Steelers, we can get into this coming into the game, but pretty much everyone knew they didn't have a chance, especially after their last meeting where the Chiefs just absolutely destroyed them.
Yep.
But they just had no confidence coming into this game, especially after Big Ben, the leader of their team, said, we're not winning this game pretty much, in other words. But
and let's go have fun. That was what he said.
Let's go have some fun. But they did not have any fun in this game, losing 42-21.
You think he was being serious? I kind of think he was just joking with the media.
I think it was a little bit of both.
But I think I think there was some truth. It was like a haha. It was like a joke that's just, but it's out of honesty.
Yeah, I mean, pretty crappy way to end his career because Chiefs just the Steelers only had 7 points at halftime. They just couldn't get anything going.
Plus, it was from a defensive touchdown. So
yeah, and that was the funny thing was starting the game off. TJ Watt had that fumble return for a touchdown, and they go up 7-0, and it's like, oh boy, like, are they going to start cooking here a little bit? Are they going to build off of this? And
no,
that's just not what happened at all. And Mahomes goes off for 5 touchdowns and over 400 yards. Everybody on their team, I think, scored the football. He got everybody involved. Everybody gets a piece of cake.
You get one, and you get one.
So the Chiefs just look really good out there.
Yeah.
Like I said, I had a feeling that they're going to get to the AFC Championship game, but they don't have an easy second round here going up against the Bills. And what do you make of this game? Do you think, because it's going to be at Arrowhead, do you think we're going to see the Bills of this past week against the Patriots, or do you think it's going to be, is Josh Allen not going to play well? I think it kind of comes down to like matching each other. I think who's going to play better in this game. It's going to be a high scoring game. Mahomes is going to have to try to replicate his last performance. Same thing with Josh Allen. Was it 2 years ago when they played in the AFC Championship game?
I was just gonna say, like, I was pretty sure that they did play in the championship game a couple years ago.
It might have been. It might have been last year.
It might have been last year.
I think it was last year because I think it might have been 2 years ago when the Chiefs beat the Titans.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when was that?
So this would be the Chiefs' 3rd Super Bowl appearance in a row if they get there.
Yeah, something like that. Ryan is FaceTiming me right now. Should I let him be a guest on this podcast?
Maybe on another episode we can get him on StreamYard and get him in here.
Maybe. Anyway, like I just think I think Mahomes will probably come away with the win, which I think is like I don't know. That's probably the popular answer, but I just feel like in Arrowhead, which is also known to be a very, very tough place to play and very loud, that's what it's known for. I think it'll be a tough game on Josh Allen to make all of the right reads. And we've seen Josh Allen like from time to time, occasionally, it kind of seems like he makes some bad reads here and there. He's like probably one of the most supremely talented quarterbacks in the entire NFL, both physically gifted and he's pretty like intellectually very smart as well in terms of how he reads it. But then you just have these like bonehead plays occasionally where he just he over whatever, like he makes an unnecessary read to try to make too much out of nothing. So I think the Chiefs will probably win this, but I don't think it'll be easy, and I think it'll be a really close game. Like
because it could easily go the other way too, with Josh Allen playing very well and their defense kind of shutting down Patty Mahomes and him making some stupid throws like he's made this year. But you never know.
Yeah, honestly, Mahomes has also made some stupid throws. Like that was why, and I was definitely one of those people who was like, they look off.
Yeah,
because to start the year, they really did. Like they didn't look good for a team that was like 5-2. Like, or no, sorry. Actually, they started off with a losing record, didn't they?
the Chiefs, they were like 4-5. 2-5 or something like that, and then they just kept winning.
Right. Oh yeah. But they just looked off to me, and their defense was carrying them through games and stuff. But I don't know. It'll be a really close match. Something that helped them
in a match. What is this, tennis?
Could be. Dude.
Australian Open.
That's not Djokovic. Do you see that he bought? We don't usually talk about tennis here, but you see Djokovic bought an entire a medical team to find the COVID vaccine or a cure, as if no one has tried that already, because he didn't want to get vaccinated.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
His whole family got COVID too. So,
and he got deported twice.
Yep, and he's probably not going to play in the French Open either.
There's no way.
Anyway,
whatever. So I think part of the reason though the Steelers had such an impossibly hard time, they were totally overmatched. Ben is not what he was. Like, oh my God, he's such a shell of himself. But on top of that, what the Steelers love to do, which is so ironic because they were not really winning many games this year, despite them barely making the playoffs. Like, they like to run it. That's why they got Najee in the first round. Like, they try to run down your throat like the Titans do usually. And, continue to run the ball, use Najee however you can. That's why he had one game with, like, I think it was 19 targets. Like, it happens. But on this one, he only had 29 yards on 12 carries. So, like, that's, with that being your primary offensive weapon, that's honestly this kind of indicative of, like, how the game went.
Mm-hmm. But
didn't have a chance.
I think the Chiefs-Bills game is going to be the most exciting game to watch, in my opinion.
Totally.
For my predictions, we'll see Rams versus the Packers and then Bengals versus the Chiefs. So whatever ends up happening in those games, but a lot of exciting football coming up this weekend, Jay.
That's right. Do you think Eric Bieniemy will finally get a coaching job if the Chiefs win?
Yeah.
I can't believe he hasn't had one yet.
Yeah, he should. He deserves it.
I can't believe it, because like I feel like it's been 2 to 3 years that every year he's mentioned as a possible head coaching candidate and just continues to get looked over. I don't know.
Yeah. There's so many coaches under Big Red who find their ways into coaching roles because he just does such a good job with his team.
Yeah, well, don't you remember when back when the Washington football team were the Redskins, they had Gruden, Jay Gruden, who they ended up picking as their head coach, but they also had Kyle Shanahan. They had wow, I'm so blanking on this. They had Matt LaFleur, and they had Sean McVay as assistants.
Mm.
3 of them are amazing head coaches. 1 doesn't have a job,
yeah,
which is of course the one they picked. But anyway, yeah. So
yeah, that's about all the time we have, though, Jay. Excited to watch some football again this weekend, and we'll do it all again next week.
All right, everyone. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Really appreciate your time. Are you just pointing to like where you think it is? Or?
Yeah, it's somewhere in here.
Well, thank you all. We'll look forward to the next time. And Shuey, I will talk to you later, my guy.
Sounds good. Thank you for jumpstarting that morning with us.
I'll jumpstart everything for you. All right.